Now we could 3, 2, 1 it.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Talking Stone podcast. Today, it's just me and Ryan
Yep, just the two of us
And
on a
we're
little
gonna-
date.
on the teensy bit. But today we're going to start it with a different idea. We're experimenting as this is, our first time doing this. We
Mhm.
want to just add a little bit more structure. So today we're going to start with a rose, bud, and a thorn.
And I think that we started to do this segment because we wanted to just be started off and be like, we want to be friends and just establish what's going on in life first before we get into talking to everything. So, all right, do you want to go first?
And I encourage you viewers at home to type in your own rose, bud, and thorn. So what a rose is something that's good in your week. A bud is something that you're hoping to grow into a flower, and a thorn is, well, something bad. So, should I go first?
You can go first, yes.
My rose is that Ryan Foley is so punctual and dedicated to this podcast. Whenever I ask him to do anything, he doesn't say, "Oh, why? Okay, maybe." He says, "How high?" I say, "Jump." He goes, "What do you want me? You want me to jump in the sky?" And I'm like, "Yes," and he does it. So that's my rose. My bud is editing this episode of this podcast because I'm very excited. And my thorn. My thorn is probably just, I wish I had more time.
That's fair. That's good. I appreciate it. That's a great rosebud thorn, Scotty. For me, I'd say my rose is that it's Halloween weekend. It's actually, no, I turn that into the bud. That's the bud. It's Halloween weekend. A lot of my buddies are back in town that I haven't seen in a while, so I'm very excited to see that. All the kids that graduated last year are coming back. It's alumni weekend or homecoming or whatever. I'm just very excited to see them all and just catch up to see how they've been, what they've been up to, what careers they've chose. Like, I'm very excited to see what they've been up to. And then my bud is Halloween weekend, and then my rose would be it's a gorgeous day out, and it's a Friday, and I woke up today, and I'm just happy because I didn't have to wake up today. There's every day is not guaranteed, so I'm just happy to be alive and excited that it's a beautiful day out today, and I'm just gonna seize it. And then my thorn is that I'm off like 4 hours of sleep.
Me too. Oh boy, me too. Well, I look forward to reading your rosebuds and thorns in the comments below. So today we are talking about maturity. And specifically, we are talking about, right now the question I want to jump off with is, how has your relationships and other conversations with other people affected your maturity? How's that helped you grow?
Well, I feel like, especially with my mom, my relationship with her, it's like my parents are divorced. It's just my mom, my brother, and myself. Since that is the situation that I'm in, my relationship with my mother has been the center of like my maturity. Like, I am the person who I am because of my mom. And I feel like that is because of the situations I've been put in and how she's reacted and how she's taught me how to react. For me personally, I feel like she's taught me to be a lover, not a fighter. Like, I am if you disrespect me, I'm probably not going to disrespect you back. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm going to take the high road. I don't really care for that stuff. I'm just here, trying to be nice and spread love. But, I feel like that comes from my mom, especially.
At least for me, relationships that affected my maturity is also sometimes the lack of relationships. Like, in my life, I've been in times where I needed to rely on people who I thought I could always rely on, but they weren't. And I had to step up for my family, and I had to help. As sucky as that may be, I had to help my mom. I couldn't just let her do everything by herself. And I really think that's why I matured so quickly, because I was in middle school helping my mom while she was working like a dog to keep us in our house. So I really think my mom and has helped me mature into the person I am today because she's shown me how to be tough, how to make tough choices, how to be strong even if times are tough. And I think without my mom, I would not be nearly as mature as I am.
Mm-hmm. I think what an interesting point you said is like the lack of maturity or like
The lack of the
lack
relationship.
of the relationship. I wanted to kind of branch off of that and be like, what has also helped me grow my maturity is relationships with people who lack that maturity. Because then it's kind of like a void that I need to fill and be like, hey, like, what are we doing here? Like, let's act our age. Let's not like, a lot of people, you'd be surprised. Like, I'm sure I'm sure you guys know, a lot of people are very immature. And even though it may not seem like that at first, it's like eventually how they handle themselves in certain situations when like their parent says something wrong or like rubs them the wrong way, you just see them explode and it's like you got to be more mature about that. And then on top of that, it's very surprising to see how like petty people are. Like people don't realize like people will burn bridges because you just disrespected them. They don't realize they don't put the person before that action, I feel like for me at least that's one of my biggest things is forgiveness. Like we all mess up, so why would I completely just cut you off from making a mistake?
Mm.
Unless it's like you you try to kill me or like you absolutely messed me over. But it's like I feel like the biggest thing for me to mature was just forgiving people and realizing that I'm not like I'm not perfect and neither are they. So why should I get mad or have anything against them?
Mm. No, I agree with that. A real big part of maturity is being able to take things off the shoulder. Just be like, okay, is it really worth blowing my top off? You need to know how to pick and choose your battles. That's another thing my mom has told me. Pick and choose your battles, because not every battle is worth fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that I completely agree with that, and I should start saying that more to my friends because they don't really, For me, especially with maturity, I struggled with anxiety. I still do, but I feel like a big part of the maturity with that maturing in that aspect is experience, because the reason why I was anxious because I've never experienced a lot of stuff, like I'd be anxious to go out with people because I don't know that person and I haven't spent time with them, or like I haven't been at this new place, I haven't been to that new whatever. So that's why I get anxious. And then I feel like the part of me maturing to help me grow out of that was like, it's whatever. Like, you didn't do it, but why would you get anxious about it? You can't live in a box for the rest of your life. And then on top of that, I feel like I overthink a lot. And the thing that's helped me with that and mature in that aspect as well is just realizing that it's like, if you do something that like I start to overthink, I'm just like, it's in the past. Like you did it. Like I can't change how you think like right now. Like why overthink it? I can completely just explode from the inside out, just thinking and tearing myself apart, being like, why did they think that? Why did he do that? Why did he look at me that way? Why'd she do that? Why'd she say that? Like, but it is what it is. Like quite literally, it is what it is. And I can't change how you think or how you feel. I can only change what I do and how I feel. So that's my whole like philosophy is that it's just like, why would I get mad? I don't care what people think or how they perceive me because I'm working on myself. I am who I am right now in the moment, and I can only change from moving forward. So why worry about the past? You can keep in mind and you can, take notes, but there's a reason why the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror.
That being said, the next thing I want to talk about is how do you grab life by the horns? How do you just go, now excuse my French, balls to the wall? and how do you do that in a mature way? Because you could be ambitious, you could try to get life by the balls, but you're arrogant and then you fall off the ride. You fall off the bull. So how do you do that in a mature way?
It's a great question. I think for me, I just live in the moment and I just remind myself every morning that, I woke up, today's a blessing. Today's never going to happen again. That's how I do it. And I, just got to take every day how it is and moment by moment and just really just hammer at it. my biggest like shortcomings come when I'm anxious, when I'm overthinking, when I'm feeling depressed, when I'm not really feeling it. But when I count my blessings and really see how lucky I am, it's like a switch flips. Like a flip switch. Yeah, switch flips. But it's literally. Have you ever had a class with Dr. Bergen?
No.
He's a well, he's in like the School of Entrepreneurship or something.
Oh, I know
Yeah.
Dr. Bergen.
Dr. Bergen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've talked to him with
Yeah.
him before.
He's a phenomenal dude, but you know how he's a clinical psychologist, I
Yeah.
believe, and he's always done that. And I went to one of his like a seminar to be like a certified like emerging leader or something to put on your LinkedIn. But I digress. He talked about positive psychology, and that like whole aspect of that it's so critical because you never realize that if you just say no and you say I can't do it in your head, it's like literally you just spoke that into existence. Like you can't do it. Like if you're ever in the gym and like you're trying to get that like second rep, like that one last rep up, if you tell yourself no, you're just gonna give up. But if you tell yourself yes, I'm gonna do it and do it until failure, even if you fail, you still gotta win because you did it. You did it. You got it up and you tried. So I feel like my thing to grab the bull by the horns is just try and do it, you know? Just do it. And it's like, be positive about it. And whenever I feel that, a big thing is discipline, doing something you hate, but doing it like you love it. It's just count your blessings and just be happy that you are where you are and you have to realize what you got to do to get to the places you want to be.
But that's all great. But my other half of the question was, where does the line between arrogance and actual ability come in? Like, how do you get life and use it to the fullest without, being full of yourself? Because you could be self-confident, but there's also too much self-confidence, if that makes sense. Like, you need to know your abilities. You need to know that, yes, I got this, but you also have to be realistic. So how do you be realistic?
I say for myself, like, I'm not going to I'm going to shoot for the stars, aim for the moon and shoot for the stars. But, for me, I think you got to have big aspirations, but always keep yourself in check because I want to be a millionaire. I want to be rich. I want to be successful. I want to help people out. I want to build a family. I want to do stuff. But that stuff hasn't come yet. So to remind myself that it's like, I want this stuff and I'm not going to be arrogant about it because I have to work hard. You have to work really hard. You have to show people that you want it and you have to show people that you did it, and you have to really apply yourself. So the thing for me that keeps me in check is just keep your head down and keep on working. Just honestly, just tell yourself, like, I have a mission to do. Like, I'm here for a reason. This is my full-time job is to be a student and to do whatever. Like, whatever you do in life, it's just, you have to do be the best. Just be the best at it. But don't think you're the best because you're probably not. There's always a bigger fish. Kobe Bryant, no matter how, even if he won or he lost, he's always in the gym. He's always shooting baskets, and he's there before anyone else, and he's there after everyone else. And people, you look at him, and he's so arrogant when he's on the court, but that comes from how prepared he is. So I feel like it's a balance of being prepared and realizing that, and being humble. I feel like, because if you're prepared, then it's like, what is there to be worried about? Like, you can if you could prepare for anything. Basically,
my mom always said, fail to prepare to fail.
Yeah, exactly. And that is like, if you apply that to anything, it is true. Like, if you don't apply yourself in class, like, all right, like if you don't prepare, like if I have a psychology exam, like it's easy, but it's like, I don't know, like Freud's like semantic and like episodic memory. Like I can't like write the entire thing down, but like I studied, you study that stuff in daily life, just mentally preparing yourself. Like when you wake up, as I said, just be like, today's a day. It's a good day.
Today is the day. That being said, we're going to move on to another thing, kind of changing the format up a little bit. For my next question, you're only allowed to answer it in maybe a word or two, maybe a sentence, if that. just as minimal as possible, but as descriptive as possible. So if that's one word, do it. If that's a tiny little sentence, do it. So my question for you is, we're in our early 20s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we discover the person we are striving to be? What do you need to strive for? How do you know you made it? How do you know if you're going in the right direction?
Know yourself, I think. It's just, for me, like, I thought I knew myself. I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought I knew my strengths and my weaknesses. I thought I knew what I liked and I didn't like, but I feel like that's always changing. You know, I never really realized I was like, oh, I didn't think I knew this little, but I do. And I feel like college is a great time where you can definitely discover your stride, fall into the people you fall in with and really find where you belong. And I feel like for me, this past semester has been a great opportunity for me to like really mature as a person, because I'm now living in a house with 6 other guys. I have to deal with a lot of personalities, a lot of different people coming in and out, and it's very interesting because I now have to know my limits, my bounds, where I get ticked off, where I get triggered, or like how I react to things, and then take a step back from that and be like, all right, what can I do differently? Like, where did I go wrong? What can I do better?
It's a little more than one sense.
Yeah.
For me, I think to really say one word or one sentence of what to strive for or what to do in your early 20s to know that you are going in the right way is grit.
Mm-hmm.
Grit your teeth. It's something you need to do. If you don't know how to batten down the hatches and tough through it, you will crumble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fact.
Yep.
You need to know how to grit your teeth. And hell, sometimes you need to know how to eat a shit sandwich. And you have to know how to smile, even though it's disgusting.
Oh, that's so disgusting, Scotty, but I completely agree with that. I feel like, I don't want to name drop, but I know someone, and I think you know the kid. You know him pretty well. There's some people that don't have that, and when they're faced with a challenge, they just crumble.
Let's try to avoid gossip.
Yeah,
This is not
no,
what this
I
podcast
know.
is for.
I'm just saying. No, I just wanted to put it into a context.
Mm.
I just reminded me. Okay, cut that out.
No,
okay.
it's fine.
Yeah. But I find it interesting because, especially being surrounded by that too, and seeing people who lack that, it's more or less like a reminder of myself to like, all right, I got to do something. And then also I kind of got to help them. But then that's the conversation for them to actually help themselves. But that's not the point of this podcast right now.
It's just a skill people need, in my opinion. Life could be sunshine and rainbows 1 minute, and the next minute, the whole world's ending, basically. And at least in your perspective. A family member could have died, a due date snuck up on you, now you're scrambling trying to finish it. You could even feel like, oh no, what am I going to do? Someone could screw you over and backstab you. All these things you have to know how to deal with. And to really deal with it, it's as simple as knowing how to tough it out. The last thing I want to talk about is virtues and vices and how that affects maturity.
I feel like, vices and virtues, that's where you have to realize that you have to work on yourself. I look at myself every day and I'm like, I see how I react, how I interact with people, and I see my strengths and my weaknesses. And then I ask myself every day, what can I do better? What can I do to make those vices turn into virtues? What can I do to change myself to be the best person I can be without not being authentic?
That being said, can a vice be good? What if that vice is the only thing keeping you sane in this moment right now? What if that negative thing is the only thing keeping you going?
You can't give like an example, because I feel like...
let's say there's a guy and he's addicted to sex. Like, he loves it so much. He's giving into his lust any second he gets. But that's because it just gives him self-confidence. It makes him feel good about himself. Technically, that's a vice. Technically, you're not supposed to be doing that. But it makes him feel good, and it gives him the motivation to get through the next day.
I hear that, and that's a good question. But then imagine if this same person had to smoke crack cocaine every morning to feel good and go to school and go to class. It's like, yeah, it's good. Like, the outcome may be good, but overall, like with virtues and vices, it's to be the best person you possibly can. So even if there is a little bit of negative in vice, that's not the end goal. The end goal is to be like
positive.
Like, he is doing that to become confident. You can just be confident. You don't need that. So for that aspect, I feel like you have to realize that if it's a bad thing or a bad habit, it's like you already have it in you. If you feel that feeling, you have it in you. Why do you need this other thing? It makes no sense. Well, it does make sense because we're only human. But
only human after all.
But I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's a very good question.
It's a tough question, but that's going to be our last question. Unfortunately, we have made it to the end of our time. There's never enough time when we do these. I just want to say I've been Scott, and you can find me at the Talking Stone podcast everywhere. And this is Ryan.
Yep, and you cannot find me anywhere. Do not look me up.
He lives under a rock.
I do. I live in a cave.
Have a great day.